What's going on, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and this has been the week of epic dogfight battles. We've had a ton of Android devices in particular. We've had dogfight battles where you think one device is going to win, but one sneaks in and takes the cake. We've had some close calls. We've had some where they've been landslides. Ton of cool dogfight battles, and we're going to round it out this week with the HTC Inspire 4G and the Google Nexus S. Two awesome Android devices in their own right, one on AT&T, one on T-Mobile. 1 GHz Snapdragon processor, that Desire HD look and feel to it, 8 megapixel camera, no front-facing camera, but Android 2.2 with HTC's new Sense user interface. 4.3-inch display, nice device, very thin, but the battery life can be a little rough at times. On the other hand, the Google Nexus S, 1 GHz Hummingbird processor, 5 megapixel camera, Android 2.3, gingerbread and 4-inch display, so it's a little bit smaller, but it's easier to put in the hand. So which one's the best? AT&T HTC Inspire 4G or T-Mobile Google Nexus S? We're going to find out in Dogfight, which starts right now. Alright, booyah, shazam, plippity plow. The phones, well, they're on the ground. Woo! I'm sorry, I've had too much coffee, too much caffeine, so that was pretty bad. Apologies for that. But anyway, two cool Android devices. No, I'm not going to apologize for that because that's how I roll. I drop the rhythm and, I'm cool like that. The HTC Inspire 4G, 1 GHz Snapdragon processor. It looks very similar to the Evo, but it's this revised design. It's absolutely beautiful. Unibody metal construction. It looks just like the Desire HD that came out in Europe last year. And if you remember my video from CTIA, I was like, I hope this comes to the US because this is a hot device. 8 megapixel camera, like I said, the unibody just absolutely gorgeous. Capacitive buttons on the bottom, 4.3-inch display, headphone jack, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack in the bottom, micro USB charging port, volume rocker, and of course a flash with the camera. It's running Android 2.2, but it's running HTC's newest version of Sense user interface, and it's actually the first device in America to ship with HTC's new Sense user interface. So you can see down here in place of that little plus button that you remember from the Evo and other devices of the past, you have this button with a little bit of a different personalization menu, and we'll go over some of that in just a few minutes. But some significant improvements there, and like I said, it's the first device to ship with it, which is huge. Kudos to AT&T. I was pretty shocked because AT&T isn't exactly known to ship devices, to be the first to the market when it comes to Android, and they really did a nice job with this one, so I do have to give them credit for being the first to ship there. But Android 2.2. Now in this one, the Google Nexus S, 1 GHz Hummingbird processor. Both of these are single core, by the way. Hummingbird processor, 4-inch Super AMOLED display, so while it's a little bit smaller, it is easier, more pocketable, easier to hold in the hand. 4-inch Super AMOLED display, 5 megapixel camera, and it has a curved AMOLED display as well. Let me get that other one out of the way so you can see. It's slightly curved. It's funny, when the pictures came out and they showed this for the first time, I thought I was going to hate it. It's actually a nice curve. It's not, overbearing, and it's easier, to me, it's easier to talk on the phone and feels better in the hand to me than it does, than anything else. And it has this nice little hump on the back for gripping purposes, and kind of similar to the Galaxy S line, some of the Galaxy S devices like the Vibrant, the Galaxy S 4G, etc. Android 2.3 gingerbread on this device, so the newest version, it's a stock build as well, so completely custom-free, if you will, build of Android 2.3, and we'll go over that more shortly. Front-facing camera as well. Now, it is an all-plastic build quality that may turn some people off. That said, the plastic, very durable. It has a good feel to it, and I'm a type of person, I'll pick metal over plastic any day, but the plastic on this one, something about it, just to me is a little bit better than some of the other options on the market. It feels very good, it's well constructed, despite the fact that something like this is full metal. Take a look here and see the battery compartment and see the micro SD card slot and the SIM card slot, if I can get that off. Let me see here. There we go. So you can see SIM card slot, micro SD card slot, then out of the box you get an 8 GB micro SD card, and that slides on, like I said, unibody. And then here's the battery. Now the battery on this device is only 1,230 milliamps. So in comparison, the Evo has a 1,500 milliamp battery. So keep that in mind. It's not a big battery. So if you're using this device, good. I thought did I break that? No. Okay, good. 1,230 milliamp battery, so it's very small. Evo has 1,500. Most of the devices, like the MyTouch, 1,400. So, you're going to run through some juice pretty quickly on this device. So something to keep in mind, the battery's not the best. When I use this, I have to charge it usually at least once a day, if not twice a day. Now, it's heavy use. You may have a different experience, but battery life's not the greatest. Now, in this one you have on the back, we'll pull off the door so you can see here. Internal storage, but it's 16 gigabytes of internal storage. Battery here, 1500 milliamp battery. I'd say under moderate to heavy use, it's pretty decent. Although this device takes pretty long to charge. For whatever reason, Samsung devices, to me, take a long time to charge. Although, in my opinion, when you put on a Motorola charger or an HTC charger, it seems to charge faster. I don't know if that's just perception or what, but it seems like they charge a little bit faster to me. Like I said, Android 2.2, Android 2.3 here, and we'll take a look at some of the differences really quickly and kind of what's installed while this one's booting up. Well, actually, it's booted up. Let's go into this one first. It has HTC Sense user interface on it, so even though it's running Android 2.2, it's running a custom build that's made by HTC. Now, that said, out of all the manufacturer installed user interfaces, Samsung's TouchWiz, HTC Sense user interface, Motorola's Moto Blur user interface. I do think this is the best one. I think it's the most organized, the most well thought out, and does a fantastic job of kind of preserving Android but making it easy to use. Now let's jump in and see what's pre-installed on this device. AT&T Family Map, AT&T Code Scanner, AT&T Navigator, Blockbuster, a cool feature, blocked callers. So if you ever get a telemarketer that calls your number and just won't stop regardless of how many times you tell them to, you can throw their number into blocked callers. And the cool thing is, even though the phone, it'll go straight to voicemail, it won't ring, you can still see the history of when that person called or when those people call. So you can see, typical Android stuff here, Facebook, of course, Gmail, Google Search, etc. Now, these are new to the newest version of HTC Sense. You have HTC Hub and HTC Likes. Now, the Hub is part of HTCSense.com, which we covered kind of in the video last year at CTIA. But anyway, HTCSense.com is kind of like Mobile Me for the Apple iPhone. You can go on there, create a profile, register your phone based on the IMEI and phone number, and then you can do things like find your phone. You can make it ring even if it's on silent in case it's somewhere in the house and you lost it. And you can trace it down, have something pop up that says, hey, reward $200 for my phone, or you can remote wipe it. In addition to that, you get the HTC Hub, which allows you to download wallpapers, skins, all kinds of stuff. So really, they're in ringtones, things like that. They're really turning this into an ecosystem, because when I jumped on this, I set up HTC Sense, and I already downloaded some cool ringtones, some different wallpapers, and more. But anyway, AT&T Live TV, My AT&T. Let's scroll down through here. Stuff that I haven't installed. YP Mobile, and then it is Wi-Fi hotspot capable. So a lot of cool stuff out of the box, and a lot of cool capabilities. Now, back to what we were talking about with the personalization. Like I said, the menu is very different here, and you can see that there are things called, Scene, of course, wallpaper, we all know that, but there's this new one called Skin, where you can customize, and people that have seen the MyTouch 4G kind of have an idea of what this looks like. But thanks to the new version of HTC Sense, you can customize this stuff now. So let's take a look and say we want to go with metal. You'll see that the notifications bar changes, the unlock screen, or the lock screen rather, changes, and the bar at the top change. So we'll apply that one just for example, and you'll see how it changed there, and it'll change down here. So just a lot of customization options. It seems like they're really working on this ecosystem to make it better and more customizable, and that to me is where HTC Sense really has the edge, with the exception of the widget customizations and making those a little bit smaller. They really have the edge in making the device all about you. So you can see skins, you can download more of those skins through the HTC Hub. I actually downloaded Music Lover through the HTC Hub, so you'll see it change back up there. You'll see how this is different, and some of the wallpapers are different as well. So there you go, pops right back into there. And same scrolling, of course. 7 home screens, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure I can still count. And then, of course, a different app drawer here and notifications bar. The notifications bar has changed slightly as a result of the new version of Sense. You'll see all the programs that you opened here in order. So once we get 5 or 6 programs open, we can scroll through this back and forth and see our recently opened stuff. Click on that. We can open it right back up. Notifications appear right here, just like normal. So like I said, a lot of customization that stock Android doesn't come with, like, for example, the Nexus S does not come with, but you may not prefer that. You may prefer custom notification, or Android custom notifications that come with the stock version of the operating system. Let's take a quick look at the widgets, because not only does this device come with the stock Android widgets, it also comes with HTC widgets. So you'll see something, for example, like calendar, you'll see Android and you'll see HTC. Well, in this case, you have, of course, the Android calendar widget, which you can see over here. Do it on this one so we can bring in the Nexus S into the equation. That's what it looks like on all Android devices. But then you see the HTC calendar widget. We'll click on that. You can see totally different calendar widget here, and you can see you have the agenda view as well. I don't know why I can't get it to, there we go, agenda view, and then you have the small view as well. So you can pick any of these and make these your calendar. So if I want to do this, I can set it as agenda view. So it just gives you additional options as opposed to the stock Android widgets, and the stock Android widgets are kind of ugly to me anyway. So you may love them, you may hate them, but it gives you additional customization options. Messages, for example, HTC, you have 2 options for displaying your messages. Now, of course, these widgets are very big. This one widget, for example, takes up, actually both of these take up the entire screen. So something to keep in mind, you do only have 7 home screens. But, you know, a lot of different options that don't come with stock Android. Then on the Nexus S, you have a very vanilla, obviously, stock build of Android 2.3. So when you open this up, literally everything is stock. All of these applications you see here I've installed. Browser, starting with browser, that's the stock Android apps that come with it. Browser, calculator, calendar, camera, etc., etc. No customizations whatsoever. And no pre-installed applications. You can see, even though this device runs on T-Mobile, it's not T-Mobile branded, it is a Google Experience device, so there aren't any T-Mobile pre-installed applications. Visual voicemail I actually pre-installed and can't seem to get it to work, but you can go into the market, for example, and see the T-Mobile applications. It does identify it as a T-Mobile device, and you can, of course, go in and get applications. You want My Device or My Account, things like that. You can jump in there and get those, and since it is a T-Mobile, or since you do have T-Mobile service with this device most likely, since this does support T-Mobile 3G, you can take advantage of those, but at least out of the box, it doesn't have those. 5 home screens here, as you can see, and then to scroll back and forth through those, you can click these little dots at the bottom and move directly to a screen. Now, I forgot to tell you on this one as well, by clicking the home button or pinching to zoom, you can bring that up and down as well and skip directly to a home screen as well. So you can see here, like I said, stock build of Android, no customizations whatsoever. But let's take a look at the widgets. Very stock Android widgets here. No big differences from any of the other Android widgets you've seen. Analog clock, calendar, Facebook, Google search, Google voice, latitude, market. You have news and weather, which is one of my favorite widgets. Power control, which is another good one. Twitter, of course, which is an application I pre-installed. And then YouTube. So news and weather, for example. Just to show you, let's do just news, and you can see, bam, so it's up there right now along with the power control. So not a huge, nothing really that exciting, but hey, like I said, some people prefer the stock Android experience as opposed to a manufacturer installed interface like Sense or TouchWiz or MotoBlur.